In this deliberation today, we will be starting with the beneficial microbes. The microbes include virus, bacteria, algae, fungi, protozoa, helminths, but we will be limiting ourselves only to virus, bacteria and algae. Now, microbes are of immense importance in different fields. It may be useful in medical, in agricultural, in environmental, in biotechnological purposes. The viruses are ultramicroscopic nucleoprotein particles. They are having an inner core of DNA or RNA, and there is an outer core of capsid or protein, and sometimes there may be an outermost core of protein, and virus can be used in the production of vaccine. Dr. Edward Jenner produced the first vaccine against smallpox by utilizing the cowpox virus. So naturally, these viruses are important because of the production of vaccine produced from the entire cell, or it can be useful for the production of subunit vaccine. Now, subunits are actually part of that viral particle. It may be the capsid protein, it may be part of the gene. In this case, the hepatitis B vaccine is being produced. Hepatitis B vaccine is produced from the useful DNA, which is producing the capsid protein, and this DNA is incorporated into the yeast genome, and ultimately the yeast genome is modified and it produces the vaccine protein, and thereby the vaccine is developed, and thereby we call this particular vaccine as transgenic vaccine. Apart from that, viruses are also useful for preventing bacterial infection. You see, this is how a bacteriophage replicates. It normally attacks a bacterial cell, and then the DNA goes inside the bacterial cell, and then the early proteins are synthesized, and ultimately the assemblage takes place, and thereby the entire phage particle is produced, and they come out by destroying the bacterial cell. So this phenomenon can also be used especially when we are suffering in an era of resistant strain against antibiotics. So in place of antibiotics, we can use this particular therapy. But the only problem is that when we are using this particular phages to control bacteria, there may be the problem of toxicity. So the toxicity must be free so that this particular therapy can be used.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah?
Can this phage therapy be used upon human beings?
Yes. Initially, when antibiotics were not developed, they tried using this particular phages against bacteria, but because of toxicity, it was discontinued. But again, I told you, in the present day, it is being revitalized. But the only problem is that specificity and the toxic component has to be removed. Researches are on so that phage therapy can be used. Particular phages can be useful in breaking fungal mycelia. So any particular pathogenic fungi can also be controlled by mycophage. Similarly, they can also be used for the destruction of other prokaryotes. So straight away, we can use this particular viral particle against pathogenic forms, pathogenic to human or crop plants. In biotechnology, we normally have to know the different aspects of the viral cell, how it replicates, whether it is going into lytic cycle or it is going into lysogenic cycle. Apart from that, we also know that how that particular DNA is processed or RNA is produced. So the basic idea of RNA production from DNA, that is transcription, is also important when we study the viral replication. And you can see in this particular slide that the production of mRNA from the DNA is followed by the splicing of the intron and then polyadenylation and methyl capping, In other words, the complete phenomenon of RNA processing becomes clear when we study viruses. Viruses are ultramicroscopic particles with RNA or DNA inside. Virus actually was a form from which life originated. And this particular virus with RNA inside now is pathogenic to animals, plants, human beings. So you can understand that a particular TMV which is containing RNA inside can invade a particular plant, which is tobacco plant, and it will destroy the plant with the mosaic disease. But at the same time, if the infection is low, then there is a possibility that that particular plant may be drought resistant or can grow successfully in semi-arid condition. Now coming to another important aspects of agricultural virology, which is the baculovirus. Baculovirus is considered as a viral pesticide, which is commonly destroying insect pests. They are of immense importance now to destroy pests and pathogens which are harmful to human or other plant bodies.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You are telling that virus might contain DNA or RNA. Then can we say that from virus we can understand that RNA came first from before DNA?
Yeah, actually it is a concept, we call it RNA world. Life started in the form of RNA, and you know Cech and Altman had a very nice discovery, which is ribozyme. So basically it is the enzymatic property of the RNA which resulted in the formation of DNA much later on. And in fact RNA, when it started as a fully developed molecule which can replicate of its own. So definitely RNA came first, then came DNA. Now we come to the industrial importance of particular viruses. As I have already told you, virus will invade a particular host cell, in this case the Newcastle virus, which is a paramyxovirus affecting the poultry bird. You can see this particular virus is entering through specific receptor, and the RNA is being utilized to produce the specific protein, and ultimately the protein coat is being formed, and then the complete viral particle will be liberated from the host cell. But during this process there may be some protein produced, and these proteins are interferons, and this interferon can later on prevent other infection like hepatitis C. So there lies the importance. A very important aspect is the cowpea mosaic virus. This is the cowpea plant which is causing a mosaic pattern with this chlorosis, and this cowpea mosaic virus can be used for the amplification of the DNA microarray. By microarray we can understand that whether that plant is having any infection or not. Viruses can produce different biological weapons. Say for example, there is a disease called SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. This particular SARS was created to kill people. So naturally, though it is not a very beneficial aspect, but it can be used as bioweapon, and this SARS is a modified version of coronavirus. Bacteria may be useful in the generation of vitamins, in the generation of organic acid, in the generation of bioplastic. And there may be other important industrial products including bulk drugs, but that will come later. To start with, you know your gut contains different bacteria which will produce B vitamins, and these B vitamins are useful for your own growth and development. Similarly, this bacteria you can see, Gluconobacter oxidans, is producing a compound which is L-sorbose, and this L-sorbose is actually the starting compound of vitamin C. So definitely this bacteria can be utilized for the industrial production of vitamin C. Similarly, there may be the different milk product production. In yogurt production, what we do is basically the fresh whole milk is pasteurized and mixed with the starter, The starter contains the lactobacillus, which is ultimately producing the yogurt of commercial importance. And you can see this is the flow chart of yogurt production. Bacteria can also be useful in the production of organic acid of tremendous importance. One such acid is acetic acid. And this acetic acid, you know, is producing the vinegar of commercial importance. Here what we have is the acetic acid fermentation. Now you know acetic acid fermentation initially is starting from sugar. So sugar must be converted to ethyl alcohol, and then ethyl alcohol will be converted to acetic acid. In this case, you can see an acetic acid fermenter where ultimately ethyl alcohol is added to the second fermenter containing the strain of Acetobacter aceti, which will ultimately produce acetic acid of commercial importance. Bioplastic is commonly called polyhydroxy compound, and this polyhydroxy compound is produced by Chromobacterium violaceum. It was isolated from the different parts of Brazil, that is the Amazon rainforest, and this particular bacteria is producing bioplastic, that is polyhydroxy alkanoate. There may be other forms, like you know Ralstonia is producing PHB, that is poly-3-hydroxybutyrate, then Aeromonas producing PHB-HHX, then Pseudomonas putida producing PHO-HHX. So all these compounds are polysaccharides, but these polysaccharide polymers are useful for bioplastic production. And you know, in this era, using bioplastic is a boon to protect the environment. Whenever we take some particular antibiotic, we suffer from loose motion. This is because the vitamin B producing bacteria are lost. There are three important terminology. One is the prebiotic, one is the probiotic, and the third one is symbiotic. Prebiotic is not a microbe. Prebiotics are substances which will ultimately allow the growth of friendly microbes. So prebiotic has some definite role in human alimentary canal. And you can see here, they are present in the food, they are not digested, and they remain intact until they come out in large bowel. And prebiotics are used for the growth of beneficial bacteria. So if you take prebiotic, you will not be harmed. But at the same time, the role of prebiotic is to allow the growth of friendly organisms. Another very important is probiotic. Unlike prebiotic, probiotics are beneficial organisms. How beneficial? You can see this is a section of the human intestine, ileum, where the probiotic is having some definite benefits like the production of antiviral or antibacterial compounds, number one. Number two, they form a physical barrier so that ultimately harmful pathogenic bacteria cannot enter human intestine. And number three, the acidophils create an acidic environment which will obviously help in mineral absorption or prevent other pathogenic bacteria to grow. So considering both the prebiotic and probiotic action, we get the benefit of symbiotic. Clear?
Sir, how can we distinguish between beneficial and harmful microbes?
You see, normally it is by their function. Beneficial microbes, as I told you, like probiotics, they have the important role of producing vitamins or other useful components useful to us, whereas harmful microbes may be there with the beneficial microbes, but the increase in concentration of them will produce toxin or will change or modify the membrane, will produce certain protein which will ultimately result in some disease. So apparently, seeing them in culture, we cannot differentiate, but their functionality actually differentiate them. Now bacteria, actinomycetes, they produce large number of antibiotics. One such antibiotic is produced by the Streptomyces. You can see this is Streptomyces. They are looking like fungi because they have filamentous mycelia with spores. And this Streptomyces can produce a very important compound which is shown here, the avermectin. This avermectin is having anthelmintic activity, which is active against helminth. So definitely this compound is very useful for the treatment of helminth. Similarly, Bacillus polymixa can produce polymyxin, bacitracin can be produced by Bacillus subtilis. All these are potent antibiotics from bacteria or actinomycetes. Bacteria can be utilized in the production of vaccine. As you can see here, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, this is the bacteria, and this bacteria has a membrane, and this membrane or the lipopolysaccharide layer is added to the exotoxin, and these two taken together is used in the generation of antibody. So this type of vaccine where you are mixing a particular toxin protein and also LPS compound from the cell wall or cell membrane is called conjugate vaccine. So conjugate vaccine production will make you more protected against Pseudomonas infection. Now bacteria in agriculture is useful in nitrogen fixation, that is adding nutrients to the soil, and at the same time they will increase soil stability. Nitrogen fixers in bacteria are shown in this particular slide. You can see these are colonies of Azospirillum, Rhizobium, Phosphobacteria, Azotobacter. All of them, they have either the role of fixing nitrogen, enriching the soil with nitrogen as nitrate. At the same time, the Phosphobacteria is solubilizing phosphate and adding it to the plant. So growth of this particular bacteria will definitely help in agricultural productivity. Whenever the bacterial concentration in the soil is increased, there may be different activities going on, and ultimately that will lead to the soil stability and soil homeostasis. Apart from decomposition, there will be mineralization, then there will be some attachment of heavy metals, removal of heavy metals. At the same time, there will be some biological control properties. In every way, the soil is getting better adapted for the plant to grow, or rather I am reconditioning the soil for the plant to grow, which is brought about by this bacteria. A very important aspect I was telling was the removal of metals, and one such metal is iron. So iron removal is brought about by different bacillus bacteria through some receptor. You can see different receptors are there. These are siderophore receptor, ferredoxin receptor, enterobactin receptor. All these receptors absorb iron, and this iron after being absorbed is reduced, and thereby this reduced iron is available to the plant. So siderophore production in one way is helping the plant to grow, and you know iron is useful for plant for the purpose of photosynthesis. Coming to a new dimension of agricultural bacteriology, which is called biological control. This bacteria you are aware of is called Bacillus thuringiensis, and you can see these are the Bacillus thuringiensis cell with their spores. They produce a toxin called the Bt toxin, and this Bt toxin is having some specific folded structure. You can see the alpha and the beta plate structure, and there is a definite pore forming domain. Now what do they do basically? They will enter into the gut of insect of Lepidoptera, and this crystalline Bt protein will be entering into the midgut of the insect, and this is what is called protoxin. The insect enzyme in the form of protease will convert it into active toxin, and this toxin will enter into the brush border cell of the intestine and will ultimately result in potassium efflux and the death of the cell. So this is how the Bt toxin is killing bacteria, and thereby it is a useful tool in biological control or the production of biopesticide. A very important bacteria is also Bacillus sphaericus. In the same way, they produce a toxin called Bs toxin. This Bs toxin will kill the mosquito larva, and you know by killing mosquito larva we can get rid of important diseases like malaria and other diseases like filaria, which is being transported by mosquito. Now this is a particular insecticide commonly called pyricidin, which is produced from Streptomyces. So These compounds are all secondary metabolites produced by bacteria useful in the treatment of insect pests. This is another example, the tetranactin, which is useful in killing of the mites produced from Streptomyces aureus. So these secondary metabolites can actually remove insects, can kill mites, can make the plant better productive by destroying this harmful insect pathogen. In environmental bacteriology, we will be discussing the different aspects of microbial role in the degradation of complex pollutant. Ananda Mohan Chakraborty discovered a bacteria, Pseudomonas putida. He actually genetically modified this particular bacteria, which can efficiently remove oil spill or gasoline from the seabed or from the sea surface. And there may be other bacteria also which may be useful in the removal or reduction of metal, and this process is called bioleaching. Like here in this slide you can see that there is copper reduction by bacteria.
Sir, a question.
Yes.
So why was M. Chakraborty's super work being rejected for in vivo bioremediation?
It was not fully rejected, but the efficiency was low with which it was doing in the lab. The efficiency was less when it was applied in nature. But the activity was there and it was developed later on, so it was not rejected. Similarly, bacteria can be useful in the generation of methane-enriched biogas. And this biogas is very useful for household fuel and electricity, and is being done by this bacteria called Methanosarcina barkeri. In water treatment plant, bacteria is being used for the removal of toxic effluent, and this is precisely done by the unique way of biofilm production. So by the development of biofilm, they are removing toxic organic pollutant by which the water is purified. Now bacteria can be very useful in the generation of plasmid, which is producing commercial vectors for gene transfer. One such plasmid is the TI plasmid, and you can see this TI plasmid is definitely used as a commercial vector produced from a bacteria causing the crown gall tumor of potato, and this bacteria is called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Lacoperon discovery was done in a particular bacteria, and this lacoperon indicate that for the utilization of lactose there may be the role of the structural gene, the operator gene and promoter gene. In the same way, there are bacteria which produces the luxoperon, and this luxoperon is actually discovered in the cholera bacteria, useful for the production of bioluminescence. Now algae is useful as food in agricultural development and also in pollution control. There may be a series of polysaccharide compounds produced from red algae, and these compounds may include agar-agar, useful in the making of jelly. Then there may be the alginate, which is used in food processing. There may be also carrageenan, which is a very useful food solidifying agent, and carrageenan is also produced by red algae, and this is the process after extraction or filtration, how it is blended and how the carrageenan is recovered. This particular red algae, you can see the beautiful Chondrus crispus, which is producing carrageenan and is ultimately helping in the production of food like ice cream. A very important aspect of algae is the production of the diatomaceous earth. It is dead debris of diatoms. You can see this is where the diatoms are, but they are all dead and dried, and it is useful in making the layer of the blast furnace because of the endurance to high temperature. This is a particular algae which is Peritochloris incisa, which is producing different fatty acid, and these fatty acids are useful fatty acids. Arachidonic acid having multiple double bond, so it is also called polyunsaturated fatty acid. And this polyunsaturated fatty acid is useful for the development of friendly fat in your body. So that way algae is useful as food. Coming to the environmental aspect, algae will grow as a film, and this film of algae containing the green algae Caulerpa and Chaetomorpha can be useful in arresting of nutrients, or rather it will prevent the flow of nutrients from the water. So this is how it is being used. That particular algal turf scrubber, which is the algal film, the water is allowed to pass and the nutrients are held back. So this is how the nutrients are useful in the development of other aquatic creature, and it is not washed away. So algae is beneficial. Similarly, in the same way, algae can also be used in decreasing the biological oxygen demand, BOD and COD. In growing in a water body, if the BOD level is increased, then the fishes will not get adequate oxygen. So that particular BOD level is kept under control by production of fresh oxygen from the algae. We have considered the different useful aspects of bacteria, virus and algae, and we have seen how these microbes are useful in the field of medicine, in the field of industry, in the field of food production, in the field of environmental protection, and also in understanding the cell physiology and biotechnology.